There are places in the world where silence isn't peaceful. It's predatory. It waits. And on a Saturday afternoon in Utah, one man heard a sound that would split his life into two parts: before and after. A boulder shifted, a hand went up to steady, and in less than a second, his arm became part of the canyon. Aron Ralston wasn't new to the wilderness. He wasn't a tourist taking a casual walk. He was experienced, fit, capable. The kind of person who believes problem-solving is something you can do with your hands. But the wilderness doesn't care how capable you are. It doesn't grade you on confidence. It grades you on one thing: preparation. And Aron made one decision that seems small until it becomes everything. He went alone, and he didn't tell anyone exactly where. In the backcountry. That's not a mistake. That's a countdown. Because the canyon he chose that day was about to close its fist. Blue John Canyon isn't a trail. It's a stone maze, a narrow cut in the earth, where the sky becomes a thin blue ribbon and time feels different. A place where sound gets swallowed, where help doesn't hear you, and where a wrong move doesn't look wrong until it's too late. Aron squeezes between walls, drops down ledges, steady, confident. He moved deeper. Down climbs, tight squeezes, a normal day, until he stepped onto a boulder lodged in the canyon. The boulder looked stable. It had probably sat there for years. But stable in a canyon is sometimes just a delayed collapse. The boulder moved. Aron reached out, instinct, to brace himself, and the boulder pinned his right arm against the canyon wall like a door slamming shut. It wasn't just pain. It was the sudden realization of something worse. He wasn't stuck. He was trapped, and the canyon was silent enough to make it feel permanent. Most people think the story begins with the decision that saved him, but the real story begins here, with the decisions he made when he still believed he'd be free in an hour. The human brain doesn't accept disaster immediately. First it bargains. Okay, I'll yank my arm free. Okay, I'll lift the rock. Okay, I'll leverage it with my gear. Aron tried angles. He tried force. He tried technique. Because he believed, like we all do, that effort guarantees escape. But the boulder didn't respond to determination. It responded only to physics, and physics said, "You are not strong enough." And then came the most terrifying thought of all. Not "I might die," but "no one is coming." Night doesn't just change the temperature. It changes your mind. During the day you can work, you can try, you can stay busy. But at night, the canyon asks one question again and again. What if this is where it ends? Aron shouted. He called for help. His voice echoed and disappeared. The canyon answered the way it always answers, with silence. By day 2, it wasn't just the arm. It was the clock. He had limited water, limited food, and the desert is a place that doesn't negotiate. Thirst isn't dramatic at first. It starts as dryness, then headache, then dizziness, and then it becomes something terrifying. It becomes a voice in your head that says, "You're running out." Aaron sips tiny amount, measures drops like they're gold. He tried more methods, more leverage, more force, and with every failure, hope became thinner, not gone, just weaker, like a rope fraying one strand at a time. By day 3, your brain starts conserving energy. Thoughts slow down, emotions swing. The canyon becomes your whole universe. That patch of stone, that strip of sky, that arm you can't move. And then something changes. It isn't a single moment. It's a realization creeping in like shadow. This isn't a rescue situation. This is a survival situation. And I am the rescue. Aaron looks at his gear, then at the rock, then at his arm. He began recording messages, not for attention, but because humans need meaning when facing the unthinkable. When you're alone long enough, you don't just fear death, you fear becoming unseen. Day 4 is where the story turns from stuck into ending, because by day 4 the body is depleted, and the mind is forced to accept something brutal. If he stays, he dies, and if he dies here, it might take years for anyone to find him. The canyon would keep him like a secret. So Aaron did something most people can't imagine doing. He stopped asking, "How do I get the rock off?" and started asking, "What can I remove to get myself out?" There are moments when survival stops being inspirational. It becomes raw, primal, unromantic. This was one of those moments. He understood the truth. No one is coming, not in time, and the only path out was a path through something he never believed he'd have to do. Tightening a strap, gripping a tool, eyes closing, a long inhale, drops to near silence. Then a slow rising note. He didn't choose pain. He chose life. He chose the sun. He chose movement. He chose the chance to walk out of that canyon. Even if he walked out changed forever. And then, for the first time in days, he was free. Getting free wasn't the finish line. It was the start of the next nightmare. He was injured, weak, dehydrated, and still far from help. Every step demanded something the body didn't want to give. Boots dragging, sun overhead, landscape endless. But he kept moving, because movement is life in the wilderness. Stop moving, and the desert finishes the job. And then, after days of being alone in a stone tomb, he saw people, real people, not a mirage. Imagine hearing human voices after the canyon gave you nothing but silence. It wasn't just relief. It was proof. He wasn't a ghost. He wasn't a forgotten story. He was still here. People remember this story for one moment, but the real lesson is everything around it. The wilderness doesn't punish you instantly. It waits. It waits for the day you don't tell anyone your route. The day you go solo without a check-in. The day you underestimate the terrain. The day you assume experienced means safe. Aron Ralston survived 127 hours because he fought for life when life became impossible. But the story also warns us. The difference between adventure and tragedy is often a detail, a text message, a map shared, a time someone expects you back. If you want the next story, subscribe now so you don't miss the next survival story.